Let's move on to the Edmonton Oilers. They were second in the Pacific last year, had a trip to the Stanley Cup Finals. Obviously fell short in Game 7, but it was just a thrilling run. I haven't had that much fun watching the Stanley Cup playoffs in a long time. It was a really fun year for the Oilers, and obviously a disappointing finish, but they are ready to go. I think that like these guys are going to be fired up and ready to go this year. Last year at 5v5, they were great. Third in Corsi for percentage, first in expected goals for percentage, and second in scoring chances for percentage at even strength. Obviously, last year they had that dreadful start where they were essentially in last place. They fired Jay Woodcroft and turned things around. We were talking on the show about how they're gonna bounce back. It's gonna be fine. Like their underlying numbers were ridiculously good, even though they weren't converting, and they figured it out. Obviously, you can't keep McDavid, Draisaitl, and all these guys down for long. Their save percentage at 5v5 was 14th in the league at 907. That actually was brought down significantly by Jack Campbell. Calvin Pickard and Stuart Skinner actually had exceptional years at 5v5 on their own. Their shooting percentage at 5v5 was 15th in the league at 9.54%, and their power play percentage, they had the fourth best power play in terms of conversion at 26.3%. They're going to be near the top of the league every single year. That's just what we've come to expect from the Oilers. In terms of departures, a few big names: Cody Ceci, Ryan McLeod, Philip Broberg, Dylan Holloway. Don't know that there's a ton of fantasy relevance there going out the door, but in terms of additions, there is a bit of fantasy relevance here. We've got Jeff Skinner, Victor Arvidsson. Both of those guys in pre-training camp practices have been running on a line with Leon Draisaitl, which I absolutely love. That's incredibly exciting. I think these guys will eat with Leon Draisaitl. Obviously, they won't get power play time this year because their top power play is pretty much set. But both of them are probably either of them could be the next man up if there's an injury there. So those guys are definitely interesting targets. Vasily Podkolzin was brought in as a depth piece, and Ty Emberson came back in the trade for Cody Ceci. So in terms of goaltending, I mentioned Stuart Skinner, Calvin Pickard had pretty decent years. Stuart Skinner, 57 starts last year. He was a volume starter. I believe he was fifth in the league in starts last year. He had a 915 even strength save percentage. Calvin Pickard started 20 games and had a 921 even strength save percentage. Both of these guys performed exceptionally well. I still do expect for Skinner to get lots of starts. And this is a guy that is one of the volume starters that is on an incredibly good situation in Edmonton. Is going to have a nice environment in front of him, and honestly, like it gets faded a little bit because he's not one of the big name goaltenders. So that's a guy that I definitely am keeping an eye on. Obviously, in some of the Apples and Genos leagues, he may fall far enough that I may consider taking him. But in most leagues, I'm probably not going to be taking Stuart Skinner if I'm employing 0G. In terms of schedule quirks, they have 14 back-to-backs. That's tied for fourth in the league, and 30 off nights. That's tied for 15th, right in the middle. In their playoff schedule, they from weeks 22 to 24, they have 9 games with 1 off night. That's a terrible playoff schedule, one of the worst. But then from weeks 23 to 25, they have 12 games with 6 off nights, which is a fantastic schedule. It's one of the best, actually. It's fascinating when that happens, when there's only when there's only 1 week difference between those playoff schedule stretches. But yeah, Edmonton, nice schedule from 23 to 25, not so nice from 22 to 24. But I mean, some of these guys are so good. In those 9 games from weeks 22 to 24, they may produce just as well as someone playing in 11. So their power play projection, I mean, this is the easiest one to project. It's McDavid, Draisaitl, Hyman, Nugent Hopkins, and Bouchard. There's no reason to change that. They are absolutely outstanding and will probably be one of the best power plays in the league once again this year. In terms of forward projections, Connor McDavid, this is a fun one. I have him for 46 goals, 96 assists, 142 points. 53 power play points, 301 shots, and 113 hits. That is like an underrated part about Connor McDavid is the hits. He's over 100 hits, even like score. Essentially, he's going to lead the league in scoring, lead the league in power play points, get over 300 shots, and over 100 hits. That is utterly insane. I mean, what else do you say about Connor McDavid? He's the best player in the league. Jeff Skinner, I've got him for 29 goals, 36 assists, 65 points. Zach Hyman, I've got him for 47 goals, 38 assists, 85 points, and 294 shots. Draisaitl, I've got him for 45 goals, 68 assists, 113 points with 46 power play points. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, I've got him for a bounce back with 27 goals, 55 assists, 82 points, and 36 power play points. And then Victor Arvidsson, I've got him for 26 goals, 37 assists, 63 points, and 264 shots. Some might say I'm a little too high on Arvidsson and Skinner. I would say they're going to be playing with Leon Draisaitl. And I think both of these guys are exceptionally talented. And despite not getting power play time, I think they're going to produce just fine on this Oilers team. In terms of defense projections, Matthias Ekholm, I've got him for 10 goals, 31 assists, 41 points, and 131 hits. Evan Bouchard, I've got him for 14 goals, 66 assists, 80 points, 36 power play points, and 108 blocks. And Darnell Nurse, I have him for 10 goals, 25 assists, 35 points, 158 hits, 156 blocks. So Darnell Nurse, obviously, he's a guy that maybe you're targeting at Bangers Cats League. I think there is an argument to take him in points leagues as well. He does produce enough, and obviously plays on the Edmonton Oilers, so he's going to also luck into some offense here. But he has a really nice peripheral floor as well, and he's definitely still valuable. Matthias Ekholm, I think, is a low key. He might be a low key steal in some spots. I think that he produces a little bit better, especially in Edmonton, than people think. So yeah, 41 points for a guy that doesn't play on the power play is pretty nice. So I think Matthias Ekholm is a guy that you can probably get at a nice value. And then Evan Bouchard, obviously, he's playing on that top power play, and he's looking pretty damn good doing it. He's going to probably go in your second round, and you're going to be pretty happy if he falls in your lap. All right, my top three targets, Matthias Ekholm, as I mentioned, he's going right now in Apples and Geno's best ball leagues. He was going at 160. In Yahoo leagues, he's actually going at 104. So I'm not as stoked about that ADP. I probably would want to pick him a little bit later, but in a lot of my drafts, he is falling quite a bit later than that. So that's a guy that I think you could get if you need maybe a fourth defenseman on your team, whether it's Bangers Cats or points. And then Zach Hyman, he's going at a 22.9 in Yahoo leagues, and in Apples and Geno's leagues, his ADP is 22. So I'm pretty happy getting Zach Hyman at the back end of the second round. I think that he, as long as he's playing with McDavid, I think he's going to produce in a similar manner. I don't think that he's going to reach the goal totals that he did last year, but I still do think that he's going to be extremely valuable. And left wing, right wing eligibility, I like that a lot. Dual eligibility is very nice in fantasy. And then I've also got Jeff Skinner. I think that he is my choice. It's a coin flip between him and Victor Arvidsson, but I think with the contingent upside I think Skinner is going to be the preferred option if someone goes down on the power play with an injury. So that's why I have him over Arvidsson. But you could pick either of those. Either of those guys I think are going to be targets for me. Victor Arvidsson right now, his Yahoo ADP is 159.6. Apples and Geno's, he's going at 137.6. Jeff Skinner, his Yahoo ADP, he's going a little bit sooner. It's 138.7, and his apples and Genos is 138.2. So he's actually going slightly later than Arvidsson in apples and Genos best ball leagues. So yeah, I think both of those guys could probably return you value without giving up a ton of draft capital there.